Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.
Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Jean Till, and on today's show, our guest is Father Luisito Cabrera, newly ordained priest for the Diocese of Des Moines and parochial vicar at Corpus Christi Parish in Council Bluffs. And yes, we are in studio. We are not on the road.
Not on the road, in the United States, in Iowa. Yes. Back in the heartland. Yes. So with Father Luisito, again, we last talked to him when he was a deacon prior to priesthood ordination.
Last year.
So we're going to get the fresh first few month perspective on that as well. But looking forward in this week where we celebrate the great Feast of the Assumption, which it stands in itself as the great recognition of Mary's particular grace throughout her life, that gracefulness of body and soul, which was preserved now as she sits in heaven. But, I think the feast day for the people of St. Mary of the Assumption in Panama that we'll celebrate this Sunday as they celebrate their 125th anniversary. So,
wow.
So with Father Michael Anto, we'll be celebrating with the good people there, and it'll be a marvelous occasion. I'm sure there'll be some good fare afterwards at the lunch, and that was everything. Probably not the things that you'd get at the state fair, though. But
nothing on a stick.
More, good corn, meat, pork, the staples of life here in the heartland. Celebrated also with the teachers of the Des Moines metro area on the feast day itself at St. Francis of Assisi. So as they're marking the return to the school year, we'll be with the good faculty and staff of St. Albert Catholic School on Monday morning, the 19th, celebrating their Convocation Mass and hearing a little bit of some of their experiences of enrichment in their own faith and all the ways that they discovered that. This Wednesday, then, we'll be out at St. Mary Red Oak, the 21st, as we'll take hopefully the fruits and the experiences of many of the people who were at the National Eucharistic Congress. So that wasn't just a one-off for us, but where is God spurring us to realize, the graces that were showered and poured into our lap there. So to reflect, yes.
And Bishop, the National Eucharistic Congress, if people that didn't go want to listen to any of these guests, the speakers that they had, just go to National Eucharistic Congress on YouTube, and it'll list all of the guests. We were listening to Monsignor Shea again last night. What a monumental. I mean, it was moving for me. And I listened to Sister Josephine, who will be our guest next week. Listen to her talk again, and all of those are available. And you don't have a special key. There's no password.
Although I do think a kind of friendly amendment is that simply, for some of the breakout sessions that they had, and they had different tracks for priests, for young people, other tracks as well. I understand that to have access to some of those, maybe there's a little premium there, $69, but that gives you everything.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just talking about the general sessions.
All the keynote main events in the evening. So that'll be a wonderful piece for all of us. So as we move into the school year, we know the various disciplines and hopefully English literature and other exposure. And our Holy Father had a great kind of apology, if you will, for the role of literature, apology in that positive sense, making the case why not only for seminarians and those in formation for priesthood, ministers of the church, but for all of us to reclaim that kind of sacramental imagination. He had so many tidbits there. I might have to carry some of them over next week, but it's a marvelous letter as he kind of draws from his own personal experience as a teaching in a Jesuit high school. He was trying to compel his students to read El Cid and everything else. And, and he's, literature can't just be imposed on us, but sometimes maybe we have to be led to the water to drink. But he wants to be responsive to where are the students' appetites leading them? Where are maybe some more contemporary things? And I think he's rather upbeat and positive that there is no bad literature, but I think we can be critical on that too. But the way in which we're engaged in a dialogue with others, and we are being read by the text as we move into this, and so it trains us to listen to another voice, the values and experiences, and to deepen our own emotional range and maturity as we go about this. So I think I'll probably have to comment a little bit more because there's so much in it next week. But, Jean, we're approaching our time.
We are. We're going to take that quick break, and when we return, we will visit with Father Luisito Cabrera, newly ordained priest for the Diocese of Des Moines and parochial vicar at Corpus Christi Parish in Council Bluffs. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for programming comes from Vitae Family Care, welcoming new patients to their expanded clinic. Doctors Gregory McKernan and Ben Schwab provide personalized health care for the whole family, respecting the dignity of the whole person through every stage of life. Learn more at VitaeFamilyCare.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from Westgate Dental, offering cosmetic, family, implant, and general dentistry. Located at 1073rd Street, Suite 1 in West Des Moines, just behind Dowling Catholic High School. Learn more at westgatedentalia.com. Don't miss the Iowa Catholic Radio Family Celebration, Sunday, September 1st at the Valley West Mall Outdoor Movie Theater in West Des Moines. Enjoy games and activities for the whole family, plus a giant digital screen featuring the movies Wonka and Fatima. Gate opens at 4 p.m. Admission is free. No outside food or beverages allowed, but plenty of food trucks will be available for purchase. Bring a chair, your family, and friends. Watch the sunset, the stars shine in the sky and on the big screen at the Iowa Catholic Radio Family Celebration. Learn more at iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. And on today's show, we're visiting with Father Luisito Cabrera, newly ordained, well, not so much newly now. It's been a month.
Well, yeah, we think that the honeymoon continues, I think.
A newly ordained priest for the Diocese of Des Moines and parochial vicar at Corpus Christi Parish in Council Bluffs.
And I should correct myself what I mentioned in the first segment. It's been 14 months since we last interviewed him. I had him 2 months ago, but it's just all a blur for me. So
time flies when you're having fun.
So Father Luisito, and we have the happy challenge for the people of Corpus Christi in Council Bluffs, where the pastor, Father Luis Mejia, and Father. Now you're going by Father Louis or Luisito, or
you see, this is what happens. Like, we have to make a distinction, because otherwise, when we hear Father Luis, we're both turning around. Mm-hmm. So he's Father Luis because he's been there. He was there first, and I'm.
And he's the pastor, so he gets.
And he's the pastor. He's my boss. So I'm Father Louis. One letter less.
Because do the people call even Father Luis Mejia sometimes Luisito, that affectionate diminutive, or not? Is that
no? Well, it's people have a hard time pronouncing, except for the Latino community. You know, with the exception of them, they don't have any trouble pronouncing my full name, Luisito.
Okay.
Padre Luisito.
So it's not.
But,
hey, Father Louis. Father Louis.
Father Louis rolls out of the tongue much easier.
Well, and you are responding to the people of God. In fact, you were so eager to begin your assignment, you did not wait until the second Thursday of July, the typical time to make transitions or start a new assignment. But you plunged right in, did you not?
I did. I started about a little over a week earlier, because I wanted to, even though I already knew the community and the parish, because I was assigned there for my diaconate summer, I wanted to hit the road running. Just get into the schedule and inherit files from Father Jacob, or should I say piles with a P, from Father Jacob, and just to kind of read over some of the things that he thinks follow up on these right away, because these are important.
So he really prepared the handoff for you, and he's eminently organized.
He was very, very, very gracious and very efficient at handing things over.
Father Jacob Epstein, now pastor of St. Peter's in Council Bluffs, so he didn't move far away.
That's right.
And is that also working out, that he's close by? You can ping things off him if you need to have a little follow up.
Yeah, in fact, what was it? A few days ago, because he can get into the rectory because he's got the codes. So he showed up.
You didn't change the codes on him.
He couldn't get a hold of me, and he showed up at the rectory unannounced, and I was already there, and I was coming in. I thought I thought it was a burglar.
Oh, no.
He said, I'm sorry, I should stop doing this.
Another reason why not to have lethal force in the rectories.
Yeah, that's right. But he comes over. He's less and less. In the beginning, it was more often, but it's less and less because he's getting busier and busier over at St. Peter's as well.
Mm-hmm. And as you say, you were there in your transitional diaconate summer last year. But even among the priests, is there kind of a priestly fraternity among the Council Bluffs priests? Do they get together at all? Or you're all kind of independent operators?
Not really. For example, I'll cite the example from last summer when I was there as a deacon. We got together more often. Father James was still there, and this time around, we've only done it once so far. But the plan is to maintain that, that once a month getting together, or twice a month, wherein one of the priests will cook dinner at their rectory, and then we would all come over there and just have a fraternity time.
Are you a pretty good chef in your own right? Do you have a particular type of cuisine?
Oh, who, me?
Yes.
Father Jacob just finished, last week, cooked Chinese food for us. I was actually surprised. It was really good.
Okay, so it's a...
And then my birthday was last Sunday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now 64, is that correct or not?
63 now. You're
63. I'm older. All right. Yeah, I'll always be older.
No, I cooked, a meal for our staff meeting at Corpus Christi.
Oh, so there's this new guy is great. We love him.
Yeah, we love him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty darn good cook.
Yeah. Now, can you describe the difference between being as a deacon, obviously empowered to baptize, to offer blessings,
right. You mean besides the functional stuff?
Yeah. Is there? Do you find just a different dynamic a little bit, or are you still kind of figuring that out?
I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, sometimes I still think like a deacon, and now you're not a deacon, you're a priest now. And but it's not that difficult of a transition. You just have to remember things that you're responsible for as a priest versus as a deacon.
Do you ever wake up in the morning and say, "I'm a priest"?
In the order of Melchizedek.
This is really happening.
In the order of Melchizedek, yes. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, no. I'm more of a, I look forward to the because it's a busy schedule. I'm realizing that now. You have your set schedules, and just getting used to making sure that you're there because there are people there waiting for you, and you don't want to let them down.
Mm-hmm. And it would be a form of clericalism, right? To say, well, and I'm not knocking the medical field or physicians, but that we kind of have to we'll go with their schedule. If you're a patient, the doctor may be called away for something.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Or when you arrange for an anointing or a last rites with the family, you should be there on time, if not earlier.
Mm-hmm. Because these are critical moments for them, and they're poised.
Yeah,
and,
these are moments wherein, as a priest, you're living out your role as a father to the community, and you don't want to let down your parishioners because you are their father.
Mm-hmm. And you have kind of gravitated toward that role, I think, in a very beautiful way. I mean, not just because of your chronological age, but your spiritual fatherhood. And how have you found that your seminary formation or just other life experiences have really primed you to embrace that?
Yeah. A lot of the seminary formation that helps me a lot as a priest now is besides for example, the liturgy, being able to get better at, making sure that you stick to make sure your mass is valid. Besides that, it's the theology behind everything that you do as a priest, the formation at the seminary, the intellectual formation at the seminary, and the pastoral formation at the seminary. It helped incredibly. I think a priest would be at a loss if they did not get a solid intellectual formation and pastoral formation at the seminary. That's not to diminish the role also of the human formation, because that is very, very important as well. But I particularly noticed the impact of the intellectual and the pastoral formation that we had at St. Paul Seminary. That helped me tremendously. And
I should probably, make public confession that I was tempted at one point, as I had conversation with you coming into the role of bishop, maybe we can fast track this. Maybe we can accelerate things.
Absolutely.
And I encountered some pushback from the formation faculty at St. Paul Seminary on your behalf. I
remember that. Because I was panicking. Like, what? He wants me to become a priest next year, this summer?
Yeah, but not to be just a simplex priest who can perform the sacramental functions, but like as you say, the richness of the spiritual fatherhood, the ways in which God would call forth from the great reservoir of your soul and your heart, that life had prepared you for already in some ways, experiencing
in a lot of ways, yes. But the other thing that I appreciate is that our deacon group, the newly ordained priests, we maintained a chat group. So when there is an issue, for example, that we encounter in our parish, the question appears. We consult each other. The 16 priests consult each other on issues that they run into, like the something about obligatory mass or the doing of the performing of the funeral. If we have a question about it, well, should we do this or should we do that? There are 16 people that throw in their thoughts on it, and that makes it a lot easier to deal.
Has it happened?
Knowing that we have that resource is great.
Yes, yeah. What great solidarity, continuing to accompany each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has it happened that all 16 of you have been stumped, and it's like, we got to look elsewhere here. We have to speak to our vicar general or our wise Monsignor.
But that collective knowledge is incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were sharing with me before we went on air, you've kept also a particularly important role in your life, the role of spiritual direction for now, your spiritual director that you've had up until now.
6 years I had him, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so someone who knows your soul in and out then, and the trust that you...
Exactly. He knows my weakness, my strength, so I wanted to keep him for a little while until I find somebody I'm comfortable with.
That continuity, and hopefully in the Council Bluffs, Omaha area, we know many of the Des Moines...
Exactly.
Several, I won't not say many.
Well, I don't think I want to maintain a 4-hour drive for my spiritual direction. So actually it's 8 hours, it's back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good recipe to have spiritual direction wane at some point as the busyness of the day, but if it were also to be an occasion to help you keep your day off, that would be another reinforcement for things.
But
too.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't have an aversion to the Jesuits, maybe the Des Moines priests will cross the river to Omaha and receive direction, whether in the Ignatian tradition or not. But so that's
got any recommendations?
We'll talk offline here, okay? Okay. But no, and for myself, of course, I'm blessed to have Bishop Emeritus Sharon in our diocese. Mm-hmm. So one who knows kind of the ministry and the office of bishop, who can relate and share. So God showered me with a great grace there and is spoiling me.
He is a blessing.
Bishop Emeritus Sheridan, who's doing well. We continue to pray for him as he has lost his sister Jean, who died a couple weeks ago, and commend her to God.
I saw that email.
Yeah, well in her 90s also. So, you might have your plan of a daily schedule. You're kind of beginning to get a routine. It'll be interesting once the school year starts, and St. Albert Catholic School, because all the priests of the area try to be present at various ways.
Exactly.
But, any, kind of, newfound flexibility or, docility to the Spirit where how you thought you were going to dedicate 4 hours, suddenly that's taken up in some other kind of pastoral need?
You're talking about my schedule?
Yes, and just in general on the ebb and flow of a priest's daily life.
That was one of the first things that I tackled really, was to establish a schedule. Because when we talk about schedule, you need to be able to schedule things that don't change. Your weekly things that do not change, like when you're going to say the Mass, which ones are assigned to you. And then there's the stuff that comes out of your staff meeting. And you need to build that into your daily schedule. So it's a matter of being able to create that schedule in order to establish really a stability on your day-to-day, encounters. I learned that from my spiritual director about when I first started 6 years ago, saying, I want to see your daily schedule. So I would create a schedule and I would show it to him so that he has an idea what I'm doing, at every hour of the day. He said, okay, that's a good schedule. And that's where I learned it, because it did establish for me a routine that part of it doesn't change, and then where things can be slotted into. And that puts your day in order. and it also puts your mind at ease as to what you're supposed to
Because
be
by
doing.
temperament, would you tend to just kind of flow from one to the next and maybe a little more unstructured?
Well,
I won't say
by
undisciplined, but just to kind
yeah. I'm by nature, I'm very organized.
Okay.
I can't exist in chaos, so I got to have a schedule. And even the way I set up my office, everybody at Corpus Christi was like, Father Luis might kick you out of your office because your office is really organized now.
No, I'm not. I'm not yielding to that.
So it's something that is as a discipline in life I've already established, creating a schedule, because that creates order. And as I say, it's no different as a parish, in the parish, is to create that. That way I'm much more available. I know when I can be available to my parishioners, and I don't make promises I can't keep.
Oh, now that a man of his word. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So you've established your rule of life, if you will, and you're kind of self-directed in that, and prayer obviously has a primary place in all of that. How have you found, as we're kind of winding toward the break here, the yoke of preaching? It's one thing to be in the seminary preparing a homily, big homily, or I know you had a teaching parish where you're involved with in the greater Twin Cities area, but day in, day out preaching. How is that yoke of preaching?
That is an excellent question.
Should we leave that as a kind of a teaser here, because we're going to almost approach the break as well? But does it maybe one thing before, and then we'll come back to it after the break. But how does it characterize your prayer without hijacking your prayer every day?
It doesn't hijack your prayer, because the homily that you create has to be based on prayer.
All right. Well, we'll let that be the pearl of wisdom that carries us over.
Okay.
Stay with us as we continue our conversation with Father Luisito Cabrera, the newly ordained priest for the Diocese of Des Moines and parochial vicar at Corpus Christi Parish in Council Bluffs. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Bring your picnic baskets and blankets for free family-friendly performances at the Lordson Amphitheater at Waterworks Park by the Des Moines Symphony. Saturday, August 31st, Broadway star Michael Cavanaugh joins the orchestra to bring Billy Joel's iconic songbook to life. And Sunday, September 1st, enjoy symphonic and pop favorites side by side in a Dance Away With Me program featuring vocalists Ben Davis and Scarlett Stratton. Both shows start at 7:30 p.m. Visit dmsymphony.org. Thank you, Des Moines Symphony, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
Well, thank you again, Father Luisito. The preaching and the process, the kind of marinating in the Word of God.
Father Louis, by the way.
Father Louis, excuse me. All right.
Father Louis.
Let's go with that. My habits will die hard too. So, but so you were talking about the preaching and how that flows from your prayer without hijacking it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, regarding creating a homily, I was talking to one of my best friends at the seminary, his name is Father Kevin from St. Cloud. And I remember he and I would get together because we would be stressing out about developing a homily at the seminary, two homilies per semester. And here we are sitting here and going, we have to develop a homily every day. After you've delivered one, you got to, on your free time, you got to sit down and think about tomorrow's homily. But, the homily development really it has to be rooted in your prayer life. When you read the scriptures, the scriptural readings for the following day, for example, it has to be in prayer that you develop it. Otherwise, it's going to be a struggle. And what it does is that it helps your prayer life when you do that, because it's based on, first of all, it's based on the gospel. You find a better source of inspiration than the gospel. But writing, developing a homily for the following day, you actually started by praying about the scriptures that you just read, and asking the Holy Spirit to, as Scripture said, it's the Holy Spirit that you should let speak through you, and that's the beauty of it. In seminary, we were stressed because we were going to be graded on the homily that we were going to be giving.
And there was the informal grading of your peers, which is quite bracing at times.
The critique of your instructor and
Bishop Dan Thomas of Toledo once said to me as I was preparing to preach at the North American College in Rome, he says, it's like swimming in a bowl of sharks,
Ouch.
But you know what helped? I like the thing that came out of the bat from Pope Francis saying, no more than 7 minutes. I said, oh, yes.
Yeah.
So now, after
are you known for brevity, Father Louis?
Yes, brevity is good. Brevity is good.
Yeah.
But after you've prayed over it and have written a structure for your homily, and you've written the words that you wanted to say and wanted to convey the message to your parishioners, you practice it. You read through it and make sure. This is just to adhere to what Pope Francis said. The 7-minute rule is that. Read through it and make sure you have a clock next to you, and that you should be within that time frame, for example, that the Pope recommended, because I think it's a very good advice to keep it short. People have short attention span.
Well,
it's just a fact.
And I have found, that in some ways, I think based on the response of people, I'm a better daily Mass preacher than on the weekend, Yeah. And of course, when you're the bishop, you're there on a special occasion many times too, but you don't want to prevail on people's patience. As you've come, and we're heading into the home stretch here.
Okay.
The experiences of people, one of the things I found in parish ministry was, the stories of real life experiences you've had, but it calls for a certain discretion too, because you want to respect people's confidentiality.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to put something out there. And so maybe you've found a knack for negotiating that as well. Have you buried somebody that you've knew last summer as a deacon? Or?
My first funeral for this as a priest will be this coming Tuesday. My first funeral Mass as a priest will be this coming Tuesday morning. So. But we haven't had a lot of burials lately at Corpus Christi. A lot of quinceañeras and a lot of baptisms.
Wonderful. A sign of the great vitality and life at Corpus Christi Parish. And we know sometimes people migrate across the river to be with you. So, Archbishop Lucas isn't going to complain about that. Father Louis, thank you. And may you have a good spiritual direction session and a beautiful weekend celebrating with your people.
Thank you very much.
This has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thank you to our guests and to all of our listeners in Iowa and Nebraska and Wisconsin, or wherever you may be listening to the Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.
Welcome to Faith and Family Finance with the Knights of Columbus. This is your weekly opportunity to learn more about what you can do to protect your and your family's future and how the Knights of Columbus can help.
Good morning, Iowa Catholic Radio. I'm Knights of Columbus Field Agent Gregory Waddle. With me today, I have a special guest, Deacon Mark Campbell.
I've been on your show so much, Greg. I don't think